Okay, so Paul, I have to do this because last time we got to hang out, I just butcher terminology all the time, and that's kind of the running joke, and everybody loves that, and they laugh at me, and I love it. So, slip dippity.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got it now.
Slip dippity.
Well, you mispronounced it the first time.
Because I did slippity dippity last time, and you kind of looked at me and went,
I was like, you'll catch on eventually. You're doing very well. You've been studying. Right? You've been studying Paulisms.
I have. Yeah. I've been studying you, and you know what? It's a great word because it means goody goody drop. No, hang on.
Goody goody gumdrops.
Goody goody gumdrops.
Yep.
Or A-OK.
A-OK. Or bangarang.
I didn't know that one.
Which is kind of like a Peter Pan kind of tie-in. I am like Peter Pan.
Bangarang?
Bangarang.
Bangarang.
Peter Pan, so he's like, very childlike. And I would embody him in my dress as well if I could get away with wearing tights. But generally frowned upon.
Yeah, no, that and Speedos, just, they're illegal.
Not as cool
They're not
anymore.
okay.
Yeah.
But I like the whole Paulisms. I'm liking this.
Yeah, well, I figure since I speak so quickly, often words will get jumbled, and I just make them new words. You
know, you and I could talk our own language, most people wouldn't understand.
I
actually have to work at talking slower, so we'll see where this goes.
We want you to understand what we're saying today, so we're gonna.
And we can't talk Klingon, because I know you do that too.
We can't do Klingon.
Okay, no Klingon.
We can, but not if we want people to understand.
Okay, right.
Let's think about the people.
Okay,
this is for you, the people.
For the people.
Right.
For you. We're going to talk about decks. Because you happen to know a little thing or two about them.
Yeah,
there's a lot of you out there, and you know this, that try and do it yourself.
Yes.
You're out there making your own decks, making your backyards beautiful, and you know what? A lot of realtors go out there and look and say, In fact, can we actually walk on this? Not sure if it's even safe. Not a selling feature. You see that a lot.
The line is, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? All you need is like a skull in your hand, like Shakespeare, to make it dramatic. What were you thinking?
And the lights flashing.
Yeah, thunder coming from the sky. Yeah.
How many of those do you see? Because I know I see a lot.
Well, here's the deal. In Canada, you're kind of when you come out of the womb as a male, you're expected to know how to fish, how to hunt, and how to build a deck.
It's kind of a prerequisite. Like it's like you're not supposed to cry too.
Yeah, no feelings at all.
No feelings. So you need to know how to do a deck. You just have to. You're born that way.
But so when your wife says to you, you need to go fix this disaster out there, or build one to begin with, you're kind of like, well, I have to do this now, otherwise I have to hand in my man card.
And you can't do it just a little bit. You have to do it big.
And men have a tendency to want to build a humongous deck. For some reason, men and the largeness of their decks become a very prominent
thing. And Paul,
thing.
they don't do it solo. No, they bring in the community.
Yes.
It is a bonding ritual with other mates.
It is.
With a little drink involved too.
It's when you're building something, you're using power tools, and you're involving beer. Sometimes bad things happen. So I'm trying to get people to understand, maybe a little less on the beer side of things, maybe a little less whiskey, maybe a little more studying beforehand to know what you're doing before you head out, into the backyard.
Or I've got an idea
with your friends.
Hashtag hire an expert.
Yeah, maybe.
Just saying, like yourself.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize if you want to do it, you want to get outside, you want to have fun, that's great. But time is kind of valuable. We don't have much of it.
True.
And I get the whole studying and getting together with your friends, but I don't know, I kind of like to do it right the first time. And I'd rather have it done so I know that honestly it's safe and I'm going to enjoy it as soon as possible.
And you can avoid mockery.
Mockery's not good.
Which for men, again,
wounds you.
It hurts.
It really, really hurts.
We're supposed to not show emotion, but we cry a lot on the inside. That happens.
And on your own, right, and quiet.
One of the major things when guys go out to build the deck is I always say, and it's a very hard thing for men to hear, I'm like, guys, sometimes you can have too much deck.
Okay, so we call that Debbie designer, Debbie decorator. We kind of think, oh, I want to do stone in my house, and then we go overkill. It looks like a cave.
True.
So we could do that also in the exterior when it comes to decking.
Yes. Well, most thought processes are, well, my house is 30 feet wide or 40 feet wide, so I'm just going to do a big rectangle off the back. But if the inside of our houses look like that, it would be really, really boring. I mean,
don't you think they do that though, Paul, because they just don't want to cut the grass?
Well, there's that. Most men aren't really big fans of cutting the grass. But there's also very little time these days. Yeah. But the problem is that when you build a humongous deck with no definable spaces, you end up with just, there's no...
It looks off.
It looks off. There's no creativity factor to it. And unless there is something creative out there that actually draws you into that outdoor space from inside the house, then my philosophy says, you're going to come home on a Wednesday evening and there's nothing to draw you out into that space. So your computer that tells you have 27 emails you have to answer right now
Might
or
as well
you
handle
die.
Those.
That's what culture says. Answer the emails now or you're dead. And there has to be something to compete with that. So my philosophy is even if you're building the deck yourself, get it designed, because even a small 10 by 10 space can draw you out far more and be far more usable and enjoyable and have far more resale value on your property than building a 400, 500 square foot monster.
And you made a great point, because people forget the resale value. We focus so much on the interiors of our home, capitalizing and improving and decorating and making all these wonderful enhancements. But you know what? The first thing you see is the front. And of course, the other thing that people want to say is, I want to see that backyard.
That's right.
Let me see the back. And of course, if it's unimpressive, well, guess what? They're going to put that in their equation. Okay, when I come up with a purchase price, well, I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to put a deck. Right?
Here's something that I've learned. You know, having 4 daughters, I've learned, and also having done interior and exterior renovations for 20 years.
Which you do both. It's very important for people to realize you do it all.
Both.
Yep.
But I mean, let's face it, women are making about 85% of the decisions. We can admit that, guys. It's okay. And how many times I have seen this example of, you know, a husband and a wife shopping for a new house, and they're going from house to house to house, and all of them are quite lovely. But suddenly they go into a house that has the backyard is not just got a deck, it has an ultra low maintenance outdoor living space. I have seen wives clawing other wives' eyes out on the front lawn of these houses, saying to their husbands, "You had better get this house, or we're getting a divorce." You know, it's like it's just because it's so rare. People are used to the boring square box. When they see a staycation, a retreat, a true haven in that backyard that they don't have to maintain every weekend, oh boy,
amazing.
Your property value goes up. You will get far more than what you put into that deck in the resale of that house.
And you'll sell it faster too, Paul, because at the end of the day, you're competing against other properties on the market. So you really want to stand out. And people forget that outside, yes, okay, we're in Canada. Yes, it's a 4-season country.
Yes.
But no excuse. I mean, even in the winter, you can still enjoy your space. You know, and that's what people forget. It's not just spring, you know, summer and fall.
Exactly.
It's all year round.
Every time I mention to people the concept of having a little 10 by 10 bunkie at the back of their property that you walk in the middle of January when you're like, oh my gosh, is it ever going to be sunshine again, and warmth and happiness, you know, and I say you can go into that backyard space, hit a switch, and you have a little studio that's back there. It's the size of a shed. You don't even need a permit for it.
That's right, 10 by 10 is your lab.
It heats up on its own, and now you have it can be anything. It can be a studio. It can be a man cave. It can be a little place to go play cards. It can be for pinochle or sewing. You know, whatever guys like to do. You know, and you can. It's a complete and utter escape, and it's not attached to the house. So you're at the back of the property, enjoying the far reaches of the property, even if you're only in a 30-foot lot.
Great point.
And people go, is there enough magic in the moonlight to make this dream come true? Yes, there is.
There is, and I think we were talking earlier, this is an opportunity where you can make your home, that oasis is a great word, your cottage, your retreat, whatever you want to call it, whatever that means to you, people forget about their homes.
They do.
That's what it is. This is where, yes, you of course, you have to live there, wherever you have to work, you raise your children, whatever your lifestyle components are, we treat it as if that is just, it's almost like so mundane.
It is.
But yet, it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be just pretty to look at and to live in. It should be an experience.
Now, I'm going to get passionate. Are you ready?
Now he's getting passionate.
Up to now, I was kind of mailing this whole thing in, but now it's getting now
we're getting deep.
Now I'm getting riled up. We are living in the reason why I love the outdoor spaces, and I have a whole different philosophy for the indoors. And in custom built, you know, my new indoor show, I have an entirely different approach. But when it comes to the outdoor space, we are living in a culture that has never moved faster. I mean, most people feel like they're in a minivan going down the highway at 200 miles per hour with the doors flying off going, can I get off? Is there an exit anywhere? There's no exit. You're on this till you're dead.
We're fleeting.
And we just have accepted this because
as the new norm.
We have technological advancements that we said, hey, we bought ourselves all kinds of time, and then we filled in the slots.
And we have less now.
Now we have less time.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, nobody even remembers what a fortnight is. I'll tell people, oh, I'll get back to you in a fortnight. They're like, what?
What does that mean?
They have no idea. They turn their heads to the side like a puppy and go, I don't know.
They look at you strange.
Because, you used to send a letter to somebody and you'd expect it back in a fortnight. Now it's like you send an email, it's like 3 minutes and this person's unprofessional.
And they expected to hear from you yesterday.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
So fast, people are so stressed out. There has never been a greater need to have a place of rest because we need it.
Yeah.
And
more than ever.
And going away on vacation, you know, getting on a plane somewhere. I mean,
it's hard to do now.
I mean, there's a lot of rubber gloves and rubber rooms at airports that people don't want to be a part of. I mean, it's enough said. You know, and having a cottage for most people, it's financially
unattainable.
Correct. I mean, unless your name's Brian Baumler. You know, so I mean, it's very.
Gotcha.
Zinga.
Oh, that was a zing.
So, to be able to tell people and show people that if they're investing, you know, some people say, I have $10,000 to build a deck. And they say, I don't have $50,000 to build a deck, Paul. And I say, would you spend $50,000 on a cottage? People would go, you bet I would. That's what I'm trying to show people. There's such value in the outdoors, in the calming factor of being outside. And if I can get people to understand, whether it's something simple, whether it's something elaborate, you don't have to build something enormous. My backyard deck, I spend 90% of my time in a 10 by 10 space. It's about quality of square footage over quantity, and what that does to go out there, to have communication with people, leave the screens inside, and breathe for 5 minutes. That's why I'm passionate. Was that passionate?
No, it is so passionate, and it's not a one size fits all. Every backyard is different, even though we call them some places, they could be postage stamp like, they look very similar, but with your creativity, with passion and understanding your lifestyle, because everybody likes different things.
They do.
So you can make it suit how you like to function and live.
Every backyard design is unique to the homeowner. You cannot carbon copy something. I don't believe in trends. I believe in telling people stories when I'm renovating. And with the backyard space, everything is original. Everything is unique to the homeowner, because when they walk out there, it's got to be their space.
I love it though when people say, you know what, I want a Paul Lafrance backyard.
I know.
That's pretty awesome. You got to admit, right? Like that's pretty impressive. Before we wrap up though, it's so special. But I want to tear up a little bit. But talk about disaster decks though. I mean, just the premise of that. Why should people tune in? Because it's a great show.
It's fun.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And it's teaching.
It is teaching.
You know,
educational.
And I love being able to go out into the backyard space, have a lot of fun in the sun. I mean, that's what's fun about deck building to begin with.
Right.
It's a very Canadian thing too. I mean, like to go and build your own deck, it's like that rite of passage. And so to be able to go and restore the shame for men. I'll rephrase. To be able to go outside and restore the pride of a man who's been beaten down by shame because all these people have come over and gone, oh dear, oh wow, your husband did this, oh the shame. You know, and teach them how to do things properly.
Right.
But it's very challenging for me because I have to design the disaster deck projects so they are believable that a homeowner can build this. And that's a pretty difficult thing because I'm always wanting to blow the doors off from a design perspective. So that's one
You're
of the,
having to keep the cap on.
Yeah,
aren't you?
It's like that. It's like the bit in the mouth of the horse, and I'm constantly being pulled back by people I can't see.
Restraining.
Yeah.
Restraining.
But I still love the fact that the truth of this show is that at the end of every episode, these guys truly could start from the beginning and build the same deck without me there, and that's what I really truly love about the show.
I love the show, and I love that you also, there's more women that, of course, than ever that are getting involved in the whole building aspect. And I love that. I love seeing it. And I also love seeing just how they do things a little differently. And you must witness that, having a great team of people that you work so beautifully together with. And you guys have fun. I mean, that's what everybody says. You just have, and you're just that type of guy anyways.
And we're all family.
Yeah.
So there's no egos. You know, when people meet us off camera, they're meeting the same people that they meet on camera. And it is something that I will say a lot. I mean, a lot of people have seen Katie on the show, and I mean, if you have an opportunity to hire a female contractor, do it, because think about it. I mean, it's like when you're a woman existing in a man's world, you're typically having to work 3 times as hard to get where the guy would get, because you're constantly fighting against all that crap, you know. And I have 4 daughters. This is very personal for me, and so. You know, when I've run into so many female contracting companies now that, I mean, and I'm looking at the way they're doing things, and I'm basically going, listen up, guys, because you're about to get blown away by the competition if you don't catch up and see what different approaches and the work ethic and the creativity that's coming out of these companies that are being led by women, and going, thank God, because we need them. In Canada particularly, we've got a trades crisis and we need men and women on the ground, and if the guys aren't careful, you're going to get left behind, boys.
And I love that because you know what, you remind everybody this is a trade, but it's something that people are getting into. And this is a tribute to you and everybody else that's on television in the sense that you're reminding us this is a great thing to do. It's a fantastic thing to do.
There will always be a need for something to get built.
Right.
And the mindset changed many, many years ago. You know, I'm a history buff, and the Industrial Revolution changed the way people looked at how people work with their hands. Back in the day, the artisans that built cathedrals, carpenters and masons, it was just as prestigious as the doctors and the lawyers were. They were artists.
They're artists, for sure.
And then suddenly working with your hands just resembled an assembly line where you're like stamp, stamp, stamp while you drool a lot, and you're cross-eyed. That's kind of what people started to think about. So I'm bringing back the age of the artisan. I'm wanting people to understand that when you're going into this field, I'm talking to government officials all the time, education systems, going in and speaking to faculties to say we have to change the stigma toward the trades because, Katie,
it's a cool thing to do.
Katie's a great example. I'm the high school dropout that just didn't fit into the mold, and I'm like this. I can't fit into.
You created your own mold, Doug.
I created my own mold. Whereas Katie is a girl that had like 5 academic scholarships, and she ends up going, I don't want to follow that road. I want to work with my hands, and. Which road is the right road? Which road is the white road?
Which road? Which road is the white road?
The question is, which road is the right road?
Well, I'll say this. You are an artist, hands down. So I'm going to challenge you a little bit.
Challenge me.
In one word.
Oh.
One word. How would you describe your love, your passion for what you do? What word would you use to best describe that?
Serendipity.
Serendipity. Love it. So where can everybody check out Disaster Decks?
It really was the first word that just came to my mind. It's always in there. It just pops out.
See, but that's your favorite one.
It is.
And I now use it, so I hope that am I allowed to use it? Do I have to get permission, or can I use it? Because I use it all the time now.
I just need royalties.
I give you credit. I totally give you credit.
And cash.
And cash. And cash. So where can we check out Disaster Decks?
Disaster Decks is on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock, HGTV. And following right up that is Custom Built right after at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and that's a great one. Next time we'll talk further about that, but we got to wrap up. Love you.
We have to go now?
Yeah, we do. We have to go.
I hate leaving. We just started talking.
See, and this is when I start to cry and well up, but we got to go.
Can we go talk off camera?
We could do slippity dippity.
Hi. We can talk here.